Ladies and gents, welcome to Sushi Reaction, and this is Mistakes by the channel Vsauce. Yeah, I love Vsauce. I reacted to quite a few videos from him. All of them are science related. You know, it's a big channel. I think I've heard of Vsauce in the past because I started reacting to this, but I never watched the videos. But I don't know why. Clearly I should have. I love this. You know, this is one of the I think biggest science channel in YouTube. And I love how he explains things, his take on things. I've never seen any other videos like it. It's always have fun to react to videos like this. So he's saying mistakes, and I love how the title is. Look at this. I love how the title is. Look at that, mistakes. He's just awesome the way he wrote that like that. I love delivery of him. Every time he explains topic is fun to engage in. So yeah. Remember people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out other reaction I did. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards for all the playlist. Check out the end cards, I guess. And yeah, let's watch this one.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. The title of this video is misspelled in honor of mistakes. Mistakes are everywhere. They surround us like air. To err is human. Faults, flaws, faux pas, fumbles, and fallacies are as much a part of who we are today as the stuff we've gotten right. For instance, if a knight knocked your knuckle or knifed your knee, why would there be so many K's? Well, the K's are silent by mistake. The original Old English forms of these words were pronounced with k sounds: knife, knight, knee. But that's a bit of a mouthful to say, and because reading and writing weren't as common hundreds of years ago, people just pronounced words the way they wanted to regardless of spelling.
Yeah, in the English language I always wondered that, like every time I see a word and I try to pronounce it, and if it's a bit not fluent in saying it, like there are some letters in that is really hard to feel. I don't know how else to explain this. Like knife, it just feel weird. It's just knife, that's smooth. So every time there is a word that makes the pronunciation less smooth, it gets silenced. That I've noticed. I'm like, if that's the case, why did you put K in the first place? I never understood that, but apparently they were part of the pronunciation, but over time people just like, I'm not gonna pronounce that.
Spelling is fun. Warren G knows what I'm talking about. In the 4th verse of his What's Next, he asks, what's next? What's next? What's N-X-E-T? Spelling isn't the only thing we get wrong. The history of science is a graveyard of dead and abandoned ideas. Fritz Machlup coined the phrase half-life of knowledge, the amount of time it takes for half of the knowledge within a field to be superseded by new, better ideas or to simply be shown untrue. Donald Hebb famously estimated that the half-life of knowledge in psychology is just 5 years. Humans are awesome, don't get me wrong, but we tend to believe that what we currently think we know about the universe is reasonably correct, even though statistics aren't on our side. Previous generations incorrectly thought the exact same thing about what they used to think was true. My favorite example...
Right, that's not completely true. I mean, just because history was completely false doesn't mean that our knowledge is gonna prove to be false just because history says it's so. It's not linear like that. I mean, right now we are experiencing scientific and the scientific technological boom compared to the past. So we are really advanced compared to the past with all the technologies and things we have, and with all the great minds that came and went, like Newton and Einstein, Faraday. So it's not completely true. We can observe galaxies billions of light years away. So right now the knowledge that we have, like E = mc squared, that is not going to be proven false in the future. There will be a new understanding that strengthens it, or puts new spin to it, but that will not make that what knowledge we have right now is completely false. I highly doubt that in the future we find out anything that tells us that all the knowledge we have right now was completely wrong, because it doesn't make sense. It's working. It's working perfectly. E equals mc square explains a lot of things, even the things that at the time when Einstein came up with it, he didn't even thought about certain fields. Entire field of science came from E equals mc square and what Einstein did. So it explains a lot of things. It explains it explains how black holes collides and creates these waves in the in the space-time continuum, and lots of things that nobody even thought of it at the time, but it explains a lot of things. So if it's that accurate, I highly doubt it's gonna prove wrong. Maybe some new knowledge will strengthen it, or put more information there, but what we know right now is not going to be proven false just because in the past history we were completely wrong. I mean, it's not linear like that. Right now we have good understanding of things.
Of the ubiquity of mistakes are production errors in popular songs. They're like humbling Easter eggs just waiting to be found. For instance, Buffalo Springfield's For What It's Worth. 26 seconds in, the B in the lyric Beware is clipped, as is the P in People at a minute 24. Once you hear the mistake, it's tough to unhear it. In Hey Jude, Paul McCartney misses a chord, and if you listen closely, you can clearly hear him say, "F***ing hell." Seriously, it's in the actual song. Go listen to it. In fact, there's an entire website that chronicles mistakes.
That's just bad professionalism at the time. They should have taken another take of it, like you made a mistake, record it again or something.
Mistakes in Beatles songs. Take a look at this 700-year-old prayer book. A monk wrote it on fresh, clean paper. I'm kidding, of course. He scraped the ink off an older manuscript, cut the pages, and rotated them before writing all over them. A mistake? Well,
Inconvenience.
kind of. Recent
It's just inconvenient to find new paper, so he thought, doing this is better. So it's not really a mistake. I think he was just lazy or something.
Spectral images of the prayer book have revealed that the old manuscript he erased was a previously unknown copy of a work by Archimedes. It was called The Method and laid out the heart of calculus thousands of years before Newton and Leibniz.
What the fuck? Archimedes came up with calculus? And it's one of the forgotten books? That some stupid monk, erased it just so he could write some prayer? Religion got in the way of important science like that? This pisses me off, man. This just tells us that God knows how many knowledge of the past, like great people like Archimedes' knowledge, and lots of people like this, Pythagoras and people like this, knowledge of them just got lost because some stupid thing that some king did or some did. Like there is instances where lots of kings just burned lots of books and things like that. God knows how much knowledge we lost. There's a high chance we don't think about certain field of things. We don't even think about it because we don't know to think about it. We are not at the point where we will think about that particular thing, but somebody might have thought of it in the past, wrote a book about it, it got burned. God knows how many centuries it will take us to discover that field and write things about it, and then we'll realize, holy shit, 2000 years ago somebody already discovered it.
That one monk hadn't erased that one book, would we be hundreds, thousands of years mathematically and technologically more advanced today than we currently are?
We definitely would have been, because if we knew that calculus at the time, long ago, Arab people, Muslim culture, Arab people were scientifically advanced until their religion got in the way of in mathematics. So during that time, if we knew calculus, even they would have contributed, lots of other society would have contributed, and by now we would have been really advanced in lots of mathematical fields. That time span matters. I mean, Newton was not that long ago, considering Archimedes. So if Archimedes book was saved, like this is calculus, and over time people gave their take on it and perfected it. By the time of Newton came, everybody would have known calculus, how great it is, and Newton could have done even more than that.
It's hard to say. All that is certain is that we would continue to make ridiculous mistakes, like the Mars Climate Orbiter. This $327.6 million expedition burned up in the red planet's atmosphere because when calculating flight maneuvers, NASA used the agreed-upon metric units while Lockheed Martin used the imperial system. This is Neil Armstrong taking humankind.
Well, that's Lockheed's issue, isn't it? Why the fuck did you use imperial? Who in the hell in science or any scientific technology uses imperial measurements? Of course NASA used metric. You're supposed to use metric. It's more accurate. Lockheed just makes damn jet fighters and their mind is all stupid, I guess. I mean, how could you make that mistake? Some measurement, they didn't realize that one is metric, one is imperial.
First steps on the moon. It's about the best footage we have. The original tapes containing the highest quality recording of that moment have been lost. They were probably recorded over by later test missions.
10 years ago, Sergio Martinez
Wait a minute, what did he say?
Used the imperial system. This is Neil Armstrong taking humankind's first steps on the moon. It's about the best footage we have. The original tapes containing the highest quality recording of that moment have been lost. They were probably recorded over by later test missions.
10 years ago, Sergio Martinez.
Wait a minute, is he saying that that's not the real footage? Somebody did that again? Because there is a theory going on around that, we did go to the moon, obviously, but apparently some technical difficulties happens and they later had to film it in some kind of a studio to show to the people, like, look, we went to the moon. Because what are they going to do? We lost the footage? I mean, that's an issue. I mean, if it makes sense if they did that, because I remember of watching some NASA's spacewalk video where they lost the video and they actually came out and said, look here, we literally put the green screen or something like that, and we had this guy walking and we just blacked out the background to look that he's spacewalking, because we don't have the original footage or something about some I think he was going to the International Space Station or something, I don't know. So it could be like that, like they did went to the moon but lost the footage or something, so they just did the actual moon footage we have, they did that in some kind of a studio. I mean, it does make sense. During that time they were going against the Russians, they can't just say we don't have the video. So yeah,
Martinez became lost in the woods while hunting outside of San Diego. Hoping to attract the attention of rescuers, he lit a small fire. But that fire quickly got out of control and became a giant cedar fire. It destroyed 300,000 acres of land, 2,322 homes, and killed 15 people.
Whoa.
The man carrying a wounded soldier in this pain.
That guy must have felt horribly his whole life. Like what he did ended up killing 15 people and destroying God knows how much things.
Based on a photograph taken during World War I, is Henry Tandy, an English recipient of the Victoria Cross. 4 years after the event in this image, Tandy caught a wounded German soldier in his gun sights, but rather than kill the man, Tandy took pity on his wounded state and spared his life. The German he allowed to live was this man. Later, the man whose life he spared wore his mustache shorter, but still had the same name.
No.
Adolf Hitler. In 1918, did Henry...
Where is Vsauce getting all this information? How the hell I didn't know about this? Really? This guy's one mistake caused World War II. Oh my god.
Name Adolf Hitler. In 1918, did Henry Tandy miss a chance to kill Hitler? Detailed research has found that the exact days their units were in the same location don't quite match up. The story is apocryphal, but what is known is that Hitler owned a copy of the painting of Tandy. And in 1938, when meeting with Neville Chamberlain, Hitler pointed to Tandy and told Chamberlain, "That man came so close to killing me in 1918 that I thought I should never see Germany again." So, who's wrong? Maybe Hitler confirmed the story merely because he hoped to make up extra evidence that Providence had kept him alive to pursue his goals.
Nah. He would not do that. That's definite. That did happen. This is just butterfly effect, isn't it? I mean, how the hell that guy's supposed to know that that guy's gonna rise up and become one of the biggest single person threat in the history of humankind? How is he to know that? But still, it's ridiculous to see right now, like one guy, if he had just like screw you and just shot the guy, I don't think we would have gotten World War II. And even if we did, it wouldn't have because of the reasons. And you know, the evilness of Adolf Hitler fueled lots of atrocity. Even if World War II happened, it would have been like World War I. It wouldn't be so heinous and effed up that World War II was. So yeah, that's just butterfly effect, isn't it?
Either way, someone is mistaken. Missed opportunities are a bummer. Obsessing over them is not healthy, but regret is a powerful emotion. How do you deal with regret, with guilt? Can you? In the early morning hours on a bench outside a hotel in Anaheim this summer, Zay Frank told me something I am going to paraphrase. I love this metaphor. Stuff in your past is like a carving on the bark of a sapling. Over time, the scar, the carving, won't go away. Because of the way trees grow, it won't go up or down much either. It'll just stay right where it began. It might even get darker. But it won't get bigger. You, however, can. You can keep growing, doing more things, more branches, being more things. The wound won't get smaller, but you can make it a smaller part of who you are. Maybe regrets are like that.
Yeah, regrets and mistakes are a key important part of our life. Even though we feel bad about it, that shapes us, isn't it? I mean, mistakes are important. If we don't make mistakes, how are we gonna learn what not to do? I mean, in science, I think there's a saying like mistakes are also an achievement in scientific field. So now we know what not to do. So yeah.
They stick around forever like arbor glyphs. Or maybe they make like a tree and leaf. A red or purple leaf in the autumn. As days get shorter and chlorophyll production decreases, the yellow and orange carotenoids, which are always in leaves, appear as the green fades. But red and purple leaves are the interesting ones. As winter approaches, it would seem to be a good time for trees to conserve energy, but some trees do the opposite. Instead of giving up, they spend extra energy producing anthocyanins to turn their leaves red and purple hues. These colors protect their leaves from sun damage before their nutrients can all be used, and may also be a defense against insects looking for a parasitic home. A way for the tree to tell the insects, yes, I am in part dying, but not without a fight. I am still very much vital. Drought and even tourniquets applied by man can bring about these colors prematurely. When you look at beautiful autumn colors, you are looking at stress. But the bigger the fight the trees put up, the more energy they put into their defenses at the very end, the more brilliant their colors will be. Winter will eventually come, but scientifically, the brightest, deepest, most remarkable colors come from not giving up too easily or quickly. And as always, thanks for watching.
What the fuck is he doing here?
Monsters on the earth.
What was that? Okay. That was a great thing he said in the last, isn't it? Putting up a fight makes it more brighter color. Yeah. I like this video about mistakes, you know. God, this channel tackles great topics and he goes into real detail. But that's, you know, field of psychology. Is half-life is 5 years. Psychology, I understand if it's science. Psychology, I mean, every 5 to 10 years we have this new knowledge, the extremely new knowledge about human psychology. Really? I didn't know that. That's surprising. Alright, I guess that was the mistakes by Vsauce. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out other reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out cards for all the playlists. Check out the end cards, I guess. And I'll see you next time.